In this video, I'm going to review some areas where people seem to be having problems. Most of these things are things that you should have seen in CAD 1, so I don't want to have to keep coming back to these ideas, but they're important. So I have my model created. I want to make a new drawing. Couple things here. One is let's check our units. When you're putting dimensions on your drawing, let's go up to the top to Options, Document Properties, and where you have Drafting Standard, it should say ANSI. The default, unfortunately, is ISO. So ISO dimensions are very different dimensions. It's really easy to identify because notice the difference. The dimensions are on top of the extension lines, on top of the leader lines, and when you dimension a vertical dimension, dimension the vertical dimension, text will be running uphill like that. That's not correct. Now, it's okay if you're drawing in ISO standard, that's fine, but we're not doing that in this class. We're not using ISO standards. We're going to use ANSI standards, American National Standard Institute. So go up here to Options, and you'll, again, Document Properties, change that to ANSI. Say OK. Now this one update. If it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't. You have to go back and cycle back through for whatever reason. You have to do it again. You have to put it on ISO, say OK, and then you have to go back and put it on ANSI. I don't know why it does that, but if yours is doing that, so be it. But that'll fix it. Cycle, make sure it's on ANSI dimensions. Okay, so that's one thing I want you to pay close attention to. Always set it for ANSI dimension style. All right, so let's start over with our selection of views. Now, the rule of thumb is the front view is the main view. It should show the most information about the part. It should show the longest dimension, and it should show the fewest hidden features. When you go to your view palette, just because it says front view doesn't mean it's the front view. You can decide what the front view is. This, quite honestly, is not probably the best front view. I think what I would choose for a front view is this one that says top, and it shows the most information, the longest dimension. And now your paper, let me put these other views on here. Your paper is longer this way, so you always put the longest dimension on the horizontal, right? Don't have the thing balancing. You know, sometimes I see people give me drawings and the front view, it looks like the part's going to fall over on the page. Now, let's say you don't like any of these views. If you go back to your model, what you can do is you can pick a view. If I said I want that to be my front view, that's fine. I'll go back to my view palette. Go back to my sheet. Go to my view palette, and you'd have to update it. So click on these green arrows up here. And see this current view? I could make that my front view if I wanted, and then I can project my other views from that. The problem is that's not how you want to present this part. Notice for one thing how difficult it is to fit this on here, and it looks like the part is balancing. And people will do the same thing with their isometric view. They'll put an isometric view like this. Think about if you were going to take this part and set it on your desk in front of you. You're not going to set it this way. It doesn't make any sense, right? So think about your view selection to match those basic guidelines. Again, the front view shows the most information, fewest hidden lines, and the longest dimension, but that longest dimension is going to be horizontal on the page. So again, this is a much better front view. Now, let's put all these on there. Now, these are fine. Now, this scale is a little big. I can bump that scale down. This is one of these, it's kind of in the middle. If you do a half scale, yeah, that'll work. If you do a half scale, it might seem a little small, but that works. So these views are fine, but this view isn't a good view. It looks like the part's going to tip over. So we can fix that, right? So let's see now. Remember, these views are kind of tied together, and then this view is an independent view. So what I can do is just delete that guy. Let's go back to our view palette and see what choices we have. So you can use any of these. This is actually the one right here is actually a pretty good view. Now I just have to bump the scale down. You should always try to use the same scale for all your views. But if I don't like that, what I can do again is go to my model, turn the model until I get exactly what I want, and then go back to your sheet, your palette, refresh, and you see this current, that'll be that current view. So if that's the one, you have that available to you. Okay, so you have control over this view. You have control over all these views. Now you should always show your hidden and center lines on these orthographic views, but not on the ISO view. So if we go to the front view and you turn on your hidden lines, it'll turn on the hidden lines for these other views. And you'll have to go to annotation. And if you need any center marks or center lines, now's the time to put those on. Now, notice what's happening here. See this line? What is that line? That line is actually it's the point where this straight edge hits that corner. So you see that dot that's popping up? That's that line. That's called a tangent edge. We talked about that before. Now, if you right click, you can go to tangent edge, and you can make it where tangent edges are removed, and they'll go away. Now I can see the whole, and now I can put the center lines, and that makes a lot more sense. You don't typically want to see those tangent edges. Same thing here. Right click, tangent edge, and say tangent edge is removed. And then you can put your center lines. In that case, that center line hits that. That's okay. No worries. What else? We also have a center line here, and we have the same situation. That hidden line right there is a tangent edge. Let's see. Let's just see if I can. I'm just going to have to hide that thing. So let's see. We can go up here and click on the hide edge. That'll make that go away. Okay, there's my views there. Done with my center lines. Another thing that I continue to see, which is very frustrating for me, is people dimensioning on the part. It's never acceptable to dimension on the part. Right, pull your dimensions outside. Don't dimension on the part. Not acceptable in any case. Now, a lot of times I'll see that with holes because it's like, oh, cool, I can put that right there. It's not acceptable. It's so easy to do this correctly. Pull those out. If you want to edit that to be a 4x, double click, put your cursor there and do a 4x. Right, do not dimension on the part. And let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So I think those are the things I'm continuing to see on those first couple of weeks of assignment. So we need to get out of the habit of making those mistakes. Let's see, I'll show you how to fix this too. I think I showed you before, but when you have a long name, sometimes it really clogs up the drawing sheet. If you go up to sheet format, edit sheet format, and then double click on that, you can just bump down the size of the font till it fits. And you can also, let's say, go a little bit smaller. Don't go crazy small. And you can even move it if you need to jumble it around a little bit. X, check, and click on that blue thing. Right now you can read everything. Okay, hopefully that helps.